Hello, hello, my love. I hope this finds you doing so well. This week, we have a very special guest here on the podcast. Mary Jelkovsky is the host of Mary's Cup of Tea. She is an author, a retreat host, and just an all-around amazing woman. And I am so grateful to have her on the show with us. We were going to have a conversation about her work, but she kind of ended up interviewing me a bit. It was so much fun, and I can't wait to share this conversation with you. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Take it away, us. Hello, Mary.
Hi, Bea.
Hi. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really deeply honored. We had a couple conversations on my podcast, and I'm excited to, I will take any opportunity to talk with you, honestly.
You're just so amazing. Well, will you tell the good people a little more about your work and what brought you to be on this microphone with us?
Ooh, well, I'm Mary, better known as Mary's Cup of Tea on the internet. I sadly do not sell tea. I get asked that a lot, especially when like a server takes my credit card at a restaurant. They'll look at it and be like, Mary's Cup of Tea, do you have a tea store? And the answer is no, though I did try. I just got really overwhelmed by the process. Like the tea world is a whole nother world, and they are snobby. It's like wine or coffee, you get deep into it and people are like, oh, is this from the Himalayas? And I'm like,
oh my God.
I don't know, it's just tea. Anyway, but nevertheless, I do love tea, and it's been a really big part of my life. So I'm the eldest daughter of immigrants from the former Soviet Union. My mom was a Jewish refugee, and we came under some threatening circumstances, like post-communist, I suppose. And one thing a lot of people don't know is that Russian people, Slavic people, drink tea arguably more than the Brits.
Right
so
on.
I get a little worked up when people are like, "Oh, you're so British," and I'm like, "No, no."
It was yours
Same
first.
thing.
Yeah.
And same thing with crepes. Like, we call them blinchiki. Do not crepe all over my blinchik, So I feel like, obviously the Silk Road, the trade, whatever.
Sure.
So tea was always a big part of my life. We would have little tea parties at my grandma's house after every single meal. And my husband is actually also from the former Soviet Union, so we have tea 2 to 3 times a day. But it's especially an important part of my journey of starting Mary's Cup of Tea, because even though I bought that domain name when I thought it'd be a tea store, I stuck with it when I started blogging about my recovery from disordered eating, body image healing, bulimia, binge eating, all that jazz. And I chose to keep it because I would drink tea after all of my nightly binges, kind of keeping that tradition, but also it felt like some semblance of like peace, like my little version of a nightcap after I was drowning in blame and shame and like having gorged so much food and hating myself for it. I would always end the night with a cup of tea, and it was my culture. It felt warm and cozy, and I would deal with my self-flagellating repercussions the next morning. But yeah, tea has just been like a really healing part of my life, even in the most intense circumstances. So that's kind of what I still write about. Though I don't talk about eating disorders and disordered eating as much anymore, the tree has branched out into self-love as a whole, women's worthiness, how that extends into our relationships. Of course, I learned so much from you about people pleasing and codependency and perfectionism. And now I love the phrase that is the title of your book, Ending Emotional Outsourcing, because I realized that I was doing that my whole life. And I thought food was the culprit. I thought my body was to blame. But really, it was about me getting my worth, extracting my self-worth from what other people thought of me, what I was supposed to perform as a girl or woman in this society, and also with added pressures of we share the first gen and like, first generation college, first generation American, like trying to be all the things for all the people. So Thank you so much for having me again. It's such an honor.
It's such an honor and a pleasure. Truly, truly. And it is amazing when we step back and we look at things like being first generation immigrant here, especially for us, we're both the eldest daughter, there is so much pressure to meet all these external stories about who we should be, how we should be, how we should be supporting the family, and, you know, what it means to be good. A good girl, a good daughter, a good person, a good student. Was there like pressure in your family as well to be a really good student and show up that way?
No, absolutely not. I can't relate.
Yeah, not at all.
What's
Don't know
that?
nothing
Yeah.
about it. No, it's fine. Moving on. Great.
Obviously, yes, man. Okay, yes. It actually makes me think of, have you heard of Elise Lewin and
Oh, yeah.
the price women pay to be good?
Yeah.
At the bottom of that it's not just what it means to be good, but it's the fact that we have to be good in the first place.
Right.
You know?
Right.
There's no such standard for men to be a quote good person or a good woman or a good wife or or maybe the definition is different, but we are judged based on our worth or on our goodness so harshly.
So harshly. Whereas like boys will be boys.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They can mess up. They can get a bad grade because they're in sports. Like,
that's fine.
you know, whereas like my friends who are, for example, cheerleaders, who are athletes, like anybody who's ever done or looked at cheer knows that, they were alongside on the football field with the boys, but they also had to keep up their grades and be in other extracurriculars that was never demanded of boys in football. On top of that, what really pissed me off, I'm thinking about this because I just reconnected with my best friend from high school. This is why I know all about the cheer stuff.
Yeah.
I wasn't in cheer, but I remember their practices being at 4:00 in the morning every single weekday. And you know why?
Why?
They had to do their cheer practice before school because guess who had the field after school?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So now like sacrificing sleep, right? Sacrificing time with family, friends, like that self-sacrifice, I think, shows up for a lot of people socialized as girls and women in our society.
It's part of why, for me, really taking the terms codependency, perfectionism, and people pleasing out of the old rubric and placing it within a socio-political context is absolutely vital, right? Because if not, she's such an enabler. Oh, she's so needy. Like it's all about making us feel really crappy for being ourselves and being a human and caring about others and wanting to be cared for. Like we're just being humans who like didn't get those needs met in childhood. So of course we're struggling to get them met in adulthood, right? Our attachment systems are haywire, and we have to frame it within the truth of how we grow up in the patriarchy, white settler colonialism, and late stage capitalism, or like who's the villain permanently and forever? You and me, right? It's women who are the villain, and we're so wrong and we're so bad. But I think it really does all of us, because men are hurt by the patriarchy too. Humans of all genders are hurt by the patriarchy. It does us all such a disservice, right?
Absolutely. And correct me if I'm wrong, or feel free to add on or amend. But I guess this is where we left off on my podcast. I had the privilege of having you talk about ending emotional outsourcing. You kind of alluded to this idea that the goal isn't to, well, A, beat ourselves up for having these genius survival strategies, which I want you to talk about in just a second. But B, it's not necessarily to completely rid ourselves of them and be like men. Because I think a lot of, like I talk a lot about confidence and self-love on my show. If you Google how to be more confident, it's going to be advice for men that's like, speak slower with a deep tone and pause between sentences, right? And then there's going to be all these videos on the internet shitting on girls with vocal fries and they're so stupid and unintelligent. Whereas like my friend linguistics studier, author, will tell us that a vocal fry is developed based on where you're from, and actually men from Southern California also have it, even worse. But for some reason in us, when we say like and this and that and the way we talk, right, it's considered not professional or not confident or whatever. So correct me if I'm wrong or amend, the goal isn't to be more like men.
Not at all.
No.
Not in my world, right? So when people talk about, ending the patriarchy and stepping into matriarchy, what dudes will often say is that it would then be about women having power over, but the matriarchy is about no one having power over. Right?
She's a circle.
She's a circle. She's a circle. She's a spiral, right? Like how time is a spiral. It's not a real linear thing. Same with power, same with the matriarchy, that we can be in this flow with one another in real interdependence, which is actually the remedy to codependence. It's not being independent, it's interdependent.
Oh.
Ooh.
Do you write about that in Emotional Outsourcing?
You know what? I sure do.
What are thoughts?
When I just PS, shout out to Hannah Robinson who edited the book, because I originally gave her 3 times my word limit. And she cut it down. Yeah, girl.
Talk about overachieving.
Listen, well, talk about rambling on in like Spanish and then translating to English. So like,
oh, you wrote it in Spanish?
In my brain. Like my brain wrote it in Spanish and my fingers wrote it in English. You know what I mean?
But, well, that's what a first draft is supposed to be, is all your thoughts out on paper. So good for you.
Thank you. It was so much. But yeah, I talk a lot about interdependence, which is when we live in mutuality and reciprocity, right? When we are autonomous people who take care of ourselves and lean on one another. And so it's stepping out of obligation. It's stepping out of tit for tat. It's stepping out of expectation, which is, I think, part of the like girls and women need to be good, because there's this expectation that we will perform femininity, perform femaleness, perform womanhood, and the roles that are part and parcel, mom, daughter, well, those are the 2 big ones, girlfriend, right? And we'll perform taking care of men and children in the world while not actually being self. We're just the role. We're just the person doing the role. And that's part of what locks us into so much emotional outsourcing. There's nothing wrong with doing those loving acts. It's doing them from obligation that is really harmful for all of us.
Absolutely. And make it inextricably tied to your identity and sense of self-worth.
Right. Which then in the patriarchy, there's so many added layers of control, like our weight and our size, right? That get put on us to keep us even more controlled. Because if we're obsessing about our love handles, right, we're not taking action to get equity, to get equality, right? It's keeping us focused on all the wrong things.
Yeah. You'd think I'd be much more regulated around this topic, given that I've been talking about it ad nauseum for 8 years, but my blood pressure still rises and I still start sweating, especially because I live in this like body positive, like feminist bubble, right?
Right.
In my little community. But then I'll break out and I'll do something as simple as like a group dinner with a friend who's like on the same page, but like maybe not everybody else at the dinner table are as deep into the work. Right. And I remember one particular dinner where, all the girls were sitting on one side of the table, all the boys on the other side, not for any religious religious reason, but just how it ended up. And I happened to be sitting right in the middle. So I was like the little boundary. And the other 3 gals were all moms. I'm not there yet, but want to be in the future. And I was just kind of participating in our girl conversation. I'm so curious about like birth and motherhood and everything. But then there was a moment where I kind of lean over to my husband just to kind of eavesdrop on what the boys are talking about. The boys are talking about investing, business, trips, all these like well-rounded things, which are great. I love that they're talking about them, but never once did they talk about their children. Right. Never once did they talk about their wives, whereas all we were talking about was their children and their husbands. Oh, well, so-and-so, my daughter likes when I do this, and then and then my husband, he prefers, and like all I heard was my daughter, my son, my husband, my daughter, my son, my husband. The men were not speaking that way. Nope. And I'm lucky that my friend understood where I was coming from when I kind of like gently pointed it out. Yeah. Nevertheless, there was, of course, a little bit defensiveness because, again, it's not that there's anything wrong with talking about those things. it is just jarring to notice how all our eggs are in those baskets that are attached to, like you said, the roles.
Right.
And being a good mom and a good wife.
And what happens when those objects of our attachment go away? Right? Whether it's that the kids go to college or the relationship ends or shifts, what are we left with? Right? What is our personhood? And it is something that I've noticed talking to friends, women friends with kids, right? How are you? Okay, well, Nicole went off to college and Isabel's really having a hard time. And it's always immediately like, and again, well, if you're listening to Feminist Wellness, you know there's no judges here ever for anything. You are perfect. We love you. I think I can speak on your behalf, Mary, because you're a beacon of love and compassion in the world. You are.
Absolutely. No, I love, the point is that I love that we are like this. I wish men were having conversations on podcasts about how can we be more caretaking? How can we be more about our wives and children? How can we, do you know what I mean?
Right. But also not lose ourselves in the process, because I often end up not hearing about my woman friend. All I hear about's the kids or the house or their partner. So I think that's where, yes, men can, because I think it's part and parcel, right? Because the invisible load on us keeps us focused on, are we almost out of Ziplocs? Are we almost out of paper towels? Did the dog need a rabies shot? Does the kid need new socks or whatever? Like, I don't know. I'm making things up, but like,
I love the way your brain works.
Why, thank you. It's a wild place up here. But like, if dudes were thinking less about Bitcoin or whatever and could shift, isn't that what they think about?
That's exactly what the conversation was about.
I'm assuming.
Crypto. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And if they could shift a little bit more towards, oh, my son has a music performance next week, that could lighten some of the load for women to both care but also reclaim self.
Absolutely. And that's why I like the work of ending emotional outsourcing, because on my podcast you said that one of the goals is to have this sense of separation between what I'm feeling and what you might be feeling about what I'm feeling. Right? And that invites men, that's an invitation to take responsibility. There are times my husband comes home and he's like, "What do you want to do for dinner?" I was like, "I don't know. I haven't thought about it." And then I just stare. And he's like, "Okay, I guess I'll figure it out." And he loves that shit. They love to figure it out.
That's awesome.
Right? Like they truly do. And I'm not trying to like manipulate him in any way, but I genuinely don't think about dinner every single day. Nor do I want to put pressure on myself to think about dinner every single day, because that again invites him to be like, "Oh, I'll make something. I'll order something," you know?
Right. Yeah. I love that you're giving him the opportunity to step out of complacency with love. Yeah. While lightening your own
And it's very
mental.
simple. It's not, simple. "Oh, I'm so sorry. I've just been so busy. I haven't," or whatever. Because he's not coming to me with, "Oh God, I had such a long day of work. Like, did we think about dinner?" Right? He's not coming to me that way. He's like, "Oh, did you think about dinner?" "No, did you?" Long pause. Painful silence.
Can we trademark that? The Soviet stare?
We're good at it though.
I bet you are.
Oh my God. I am I honestly, okay, we can unpack this as like a survival mechanism, but this girl, this Slavic queen, me, yours truly, is the CEO of a painful silent treatment.
Wow.
That is my toxic behavior of choice.
Okay.
I will win that game.
Wait, what do you win? Like a tiara? What do you win? Trophies.
I win. Okay, thank you for therapizing me without making it seem that way.
Anytime. I'm here for it.
My couples therapist.
Yeah.
So I call it, okay, so we've mapped out the cycle, right? So my cycle is when I'm mad, I get hot because I'm used to deriving my sense of self-worth from being on top of my shit, looking a certain way, being better than you. So that's my cycle. I get hot, and the silent treatment is a part of that. Like, I'm too hot for you.
Oh, shit. You can't handle me.
You can't handle me.
You can't handle this.
You are unworthy because I feel so unworthy.
Wow. So that's fascinating. So you go super hot, and so the response is to ice them out.
Exactly.
Wow.
So my couples therapist says, like, going high, and not in like a cool Michelle Obama way, but like, you know, I really like shut down because,
Wow.
and the cycle, what starts the cycle is I give and give and give and give and over, right? And then Stan's like really intimidated by it. And he's like, wait a second, like I can't process or breathe. And he's very like introverted and needs time. And I'm like, you're not keeping up. So
Right.
I go up here. That's what our couples therapist says. Mary goes up
Right.
here and then Stan goes out here.
Wow.
And then we have anyway, that's a lot of information about our dynamic.
No, but it's so amazing. Like, this is the best part of doing this kind of work, right? Is that it leaves the like hypothetical realm and it becomes, how do we relate to each other in a way that honors our own survival skills and the other person's? And can we then create a map that can bring our hearts closer together? Right?
Yeah. I wish I had the wherewithal to articulate that when I'm pissed off.
Man.
But that's why we go to couples therapy. So I guess I end emotional outsourcing almost like to a fault when I'm like very mad. Do you know what I mean? I'm
No,
like,
say
that's
more.
it. You're dead to
You're
me.
done. You're dead to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that I
Yeah.
would say that's a very Slavic thing. Like my mom raised me to be like, you know, it was equal parts male gaze focused, but also don't care about men. Do you? They all suck, you know? So it was kind of like two extremes. And I oscillate between those in my relationship. How do you see it from like a emotional outsourcing, like codependent perspective?
Yeah. Well, it seems like very much that functional freeze where you like go into this big sympathetic activation and then that like dorsal shutdown, right?
Yeah.
It's like I wonder if it's a bit of like too much vulnerability being really hot. Yeah. Okay. And so then your nervous system's like, oh, too much open, shut it all the way down as self-protection. Does that resonate?
Wait, say that again.
Okay, so being really hot is super vulnerable, right? Because you're being really real, you're being really present, like you're exposing your soft underbelly. Because you wouldn't get super hot and pissed off if you didn't care. It would just be like, oh, you spilled that? Okay, well, clean it up. Whatever.
I lay it all out
Yeah.
very quickly, almost in like a very dumpy way. And then when that's not instantly received, then I like very starkly will pull back. I'll be like, oh, you don't understand me? Nobody's ever going to understand me. So I'm going to be just like misunderstood, but at least I'm up here or getting hot or, you know, and that's that cycle. Yeah.
So that's one of the things we talk
Perfectionistic too.
Right. We talk about in Anchored is the core ouchie. And I made it the ouchie because like the core wound feels so heavy. And, you know, I'm not about that, but like it's this core ouchie, right? That like no matter what happens, when that gets touched, boom, you're going to 10.
Yeah.
And so that's where that like inner child work and parts work can really help, not to even work with like grown up Mary, but to work with that little girl who's like, I was too vulnerable just there. And so that story got triggered.
Oh, Bea. I mean, you know, it's funny because we talk about these things, like you said, when it's hypothetical,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, like feel it in your body. Cool. Sure. But then when I realized that the last time Stan and I got in a fight, I also was I'm dealing with really severe back pain, so it always just kind of crippling. But I went into my bedroom, sunk to the floor, and you know where I go whenever I'm really upset, like past the point of being mad and just like really sad? I go through my old emails where my dad used to send me pathetic notes and like links to random YouTube videos. And I go through all of them and like the photos, like he would send me photos of me as a kid, and I don't have many. I only have maybe a couple dozen.
Yeah.
So when I'm like at the depths of despair, I'm like, oh, why? I'm like suddenly crying about everything, you know, as one does.
Yeah.
And so then where do I go? Oh, I'm like looking for a piece of my dad who abandoned me, right?
Right.
Hypothetically, when you talk about it, you're like, oh, like that's little Mary who feels abandoned by her father. And that's like cute and great. You might not every day like link that. But when that once a year big ugly cry comes on and you realize like that's the part of you that you're searching for, that you're trying to protect, right? then it's really confronting. I'm like, oh, I thought I was like really mad at my husband.
Right.
But if I was really mad at my husband, I wouldn't be going through my father's old emails.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's amazing how quickly we'll project old ouchies into a new moment.
Absolutely.
Like just in a millisecond. Yeah.
And that's the self-abandonment.
Yeah. And that's that attempt to find grounding and regulation wherever we can. Right?
Tell us about that. Tell us about how it's a genius survival strategy
To project
all the emotional outsourcing habits.
Yeah. So little Mary, like little Bea, we learned these core stories about our worth and our value. One of my big ones is like that no one will ever take care of me, which like very immigrant eldest daughter, right? Like I'll do it myself. No one will ever take care of me. It's on me. And so like, spoiler alert, my first marriage was with someone who had a 0.0% interest in taking care of me ever, would never do anything around the house, right? Because I was projecting all that wounding.
And you had to prove your brain right.
That's right. Reenactment, right? My nervous system was like, oh, this is the old hell that I'm comfortable with. This hasn't killed me yet. Might as well stay on this one, right? Let's go.
At least it's familiar.
Listen, right? We're not going to pull any new tricks here, eat any new berries in this field. F that. But yeah, so our brains learned what won't kill me. What behavior patterns, what ways of interacting, what ways of relating, when to get hot, when to shut down, when to push away, when to pull closer. Like we learned what was acceptable, what got us applauded, what got us lauded, what got us, neither one of us were from families that demanded A pluses. And so, right, we learned those stories. And then they become the implicit memory in our brains, in our bodies. And our bodies read every scenario in front of us against that old script, right? So then your partner makes a face like the face your parent used to make when, and you zoom. You're way back in the 80s. You're back in the 90s. You're back home.
2000s.
2000s.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry, everyone.
It's we still love you, even though you're a newborn. It's okay.
Even though I'm a swaddled baby.
You are a swaddled
But
baby.
hey, I
in
told you on my
arms.
27th birthday I woke up with unexplained back pain. So if that's not a rite of passage,
Listen,
I don't know what is.
No, who knows? Who knows? I think I had my first hot flash the other night. So
No, congrats.
look at us twinsing. Yeah, good times. Good
Stop
times.
it,
Great oldies. Listen, I'm from 1979. It was a great year.
Aw.
Oh,
I love that. And so
Yeah.
you were like a child in the 80s, but then you got the grunginess of the 90s in your like teen adulthood.
I did.
I actually really love that for you, and I totally see
Oh,
it.
thank
Okay.
you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Sonic Youth, Susie and the Banshees, the whole thing. Yep. Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, your mom. Which was an appropriate
Sorry.
comeback when I was a child. Wait, where were we? Projection, but also your mom. I
But
also,
also your
P.S., do you and your sister say your mom to each other?
All the time.
Okay,
but,
good. Perfect.
But actually, I usually say my mom, and then she'll be like, you mean my mom? And then we'll fight about whose mom it is. And then one of us will be like, your mom.
Yeah. Okay, great. It would be mom is doing this when she was behaving, which was very rare, but it would be your mom pulled some BS.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's just yours. I'm actually leaving and never heard of you. Who were you?
Okay.
What?
Not to be super toxic, but if like our dog is like doing something silly, I'll also be like to my husband, your dog.
Oh,
Like
I love
I
it.
have fully embodied that little trait.
Listen, you got to know when to outsource lousy responsibility.
When to outsource. It's not all bad.
Outsource the lousy dog that pooped on the kitchen floor. That's not my
There's a
dog.
time and a place.
That's right. To outsource it. That's your mom
All
who's
the
being passive
feminism
aggressive.
leaving my body when I have to pick up dog shit. Ooh.
Yep, that's true. That's true. Love that.
Okay, you were talking
Okay.
to us about
Projection.
yes.
Yeah. I think one of the things that has changed my life for the bestest was realizing, like, understanding projection and how the way we see and experience the world is based on our stories about the world.
Yeah.
And so much of how we experience other people is based on our past, and like picturing an actual movie projector on their face and then asking myself, wait, like particularly when I would get really upset or something would really annoy me or feel really challenging, asking myself, what am I projecting onto this moment, would change everything, because it would bring so much compassion in. Like, one of the things that historically has been really hard for me is asking for help and then not getting it, or like being made to feel bad, or like in medical settings, like calling a medical office and they treat you like crap, or going and seeing a doctor who writes you off, right? And that was like bringing up all sorts of childhood stuff of feeling or being told I was being a bother, asking for help, right? That was really like, didn't feel okay or safe or good. And so I'd be in the doctor's.
Nobody will ever take care of me anyway.
Exactly. And so I'm in the office responding to the rude medical assistant or the dismissive doctor or whatever as an 8-year-old, as a 10-year-old. And once I could realize that, I could step into my adult self in a real way, and could step into more emotional maturity, and could realize, wait, I'm actually the grown up here, and I can respond in a thoughtful, intentional way as the grown up, and can, use my words if someone's actually being rude. But then I can also ask myself, like, wait, are they actually being rude? Or is that the lens that I walked into the office with? Because it often would be, because I was expecting to not be taken care of, because asking to be taken care of was not safe or okay, right? So it's that self-fulfilling prophecy as well. And realizing that, whoosh, was so huge.
Yeah. Sometimes like that self-fulfilling prophecy is what, like you said, it keeps us stuck in the familiar, in the seemingly safe. But breaking out of that involves making a different choice.
Yeah.
Which you talk about in your book.
Yeah. Yeah. It involves a lot of presence work. And what's really challenging and really sucks is presence work. It is super annoying, right? But when you grow up like with the constant distraction we grew up with, and especially you as a newborn, because I'm from before the internet, to brag. But really, we're all so used to being so distracted from our own reality all the time. And especially, I think, when we live in emotional outsourcing, we become experts at distraction, right? We buffer against feeling our own feelings by caretaking others, by managing their lives, by managing their feelings, by doing for them, by over-functioning and over-giving and over, because it feels existentially dangerous to stop and be present, because we fear we don't know how to do it, right?
How would you do it? And in case it helps to give an example, I have my cousin's bachelorette coming up. And I am probably the only one out of the group of 10 girls in the group chat who's putting an exorbitant amount of pressure on myself to somehow lead the gathering. I don't know if it's because I like host retreats and like want it to be fulfilling for my cousin and everything. But I made the themed outfits. I created mood boards. Like, I've sent bits and pieces here. And now I'm planning all these like little, and she never asked me to. I'm not her maid of honor in any way. There's no expectation. I know she's going to be blown away. But I guess I was thinking this at the beginning too, when you asked me about, was I expected to get good grades and perform, right?
Right.
And the answer is like, yes, but not in, like, for example, I talked to my Asian American siblings, people, right? They're like, okay, like I would literally get my throat cut if I didn't bring home an A. And in some ways, like, yeah, my mom was strict, but she also was super laissez-faire, and she trusted me. And there was kind of this like unspoken expectation of like, oh yeah, why wouldn't you get good grades?
Right,
it wasn't like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't always verbalized.
Much. Yeah.
So sometimes when I dig into some trauma work or I read these books, your body keeps the score and everything. And I'm like, well, in some ways, like nothing really like concrete happened that was like a capital T traumatic experience. And my mom wasn't like, oh my God, you suck and you're awful if you bring home a B.
Right.
But for some reason, I put this pressure on myself, like is part of eldest daughter syndrome. I don't know. Going on this bachelorette, I'm like, why did I make up this story that I need to, lead this group and make sure everybody has perfectly coordinated outfits because I know that Stella is going to appreciate that when she sees the pictures, what am I getting at here? Yeah. In case that helps personalize the experience around presence, how can you differentiate between, oh, I like actually really care about my academics and my future, or my friend and her experience at the bachelorette, like I'm genuinely wanting to do this, versus I'm trying to get everybody to like me, people pleasing, get the scholarship so grandma has something to brag about to her Russian friends, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you differentiate?
Such a great question. So 2 things. One, with the body, is there attention to it? So when we're walking on eggshells, we keep attention in our bodies, all right? We keep a tightness, a constriction, a contraction, right? So we're sending the email with a rush. We're making the Pinterest board and we're like, okay, what's the perfect thing? And there's like an urgency to it.
It's like compulsive.
Yeah, that compulsive, that urgent, that got to get it done. It's got to be perfect. Like there's a push energy, right?
Totally.
Like a shoving, go, go, go kind of sympathetic energy to it, fight or flighty energy. So 1, checking in with the body. And then 2, asking the question, what am I making this mean?
Write that down.
It's a good one. What am I making it mean that I got the perfect outfits for Stella, that I got the perfect place, the perfect drinks, the perfect food, what am I making it mean about me? And then the concurrent question that I love is, what am I asking this to do for me? So what am I asking, being the coordinator of this party, to do for me? What am I asking it to make me feel? So this is the question I always ask myself before I have a drink.
Like an alcoholic drink?
Yep. Am I sad or grumpy or angry or overwhelmed? And so I'm going to pour a glass of wine and ask it to change my mood. I'm not having that wine. I'm going for a walk. If I'm, as an Argentine, having a steak, and thus I would like Malbec, and I'm asking the wine to create a gorgeous flavor profile, pour another glass.
Connect me with my culture.
Let me go. Get a straw out. Let's go. Right? But if I'm asking it to do emotional labor, no gracias. Because it can't do it. And so I'm buffering. Right?
So the litmus test is if I'm asking it to do emotional labor.
Right.
I would apply that to also body image, which is like what I talk about. And like the act of putting on makeup, doing your hair. Like I crimped my hair today because I was really excited to see you. And I just wanted like fluffy hair to put my headphones on,
Yeah.
But I've had times where I've fried my hair, stick straight, early 2000s. You know how it went.
Yep, sure do.
Because it was supposed to give you some sense of, oh God, I don't even want to go into it.
Right.
The early 2000s beauty standards.
It was rough, man. It was rough. But yeah, I actually put on eye makeup for the same reason. I was like, oh, I'm going to see Mary today. I wanted to look cute. But I did that for me and for wanting to feel a way, not in asking the makeup to make me feel a way. It's subtle right there. It's subtle. But that's what doing presence work does, is it gives you the capacity to feel that subtle difference, that subtle shift. Right?
Love that.
Yeah. It really shifts your whole landscape.
I'm assuming presence work is a big part of the book and being emotional outsourcing.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, what's your favorite section, part, teaching in the book?
Oh, I love that. You know what? Be the cake. I was going to grab a copy, but it's Be the Cake. So this isn't directly about presencing, but it's a topic I talk about. So I talk about how in emotional outsourcing, we believe that we need icing, that we as a cake are not sufficient, We need buttercream. We need some kind of frosting. We need shiny rosettes on us to make us magnificent, right? We need other people's opinions, validation. Do I look cute in this? Do I look okay? Am I smart enough? Am I good enough? What do you think of my project? What do you... But what we get to realize is that we're just a perfect cake on our own. And I think this is so important, of course you want validation. You're a human. Validation feels amazing, right? Like, Mary, your crimped hair looks adorable. It looks so sweet. It does look like perfect under your headphones. Doesn't that feel so good? I love it.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it can actually fill your cup and your spirit when you don't need it in the grasping way that the Buddhists talk about, where you're like, I have to have validation, like a gremlin in the dark, right? But when you know you're the cake and you are freaking magnificent and the icing's just icing, the validation's just extra. That's what it really is magnificent, you know?
What kind of cake are you?
What kind of cake am I? Mil hojas. Yeah, I think I'm a good
what's
mil
that?
hojas. 1,000 leaves. So like thin pastry dough with dulce de leche. Like thick dulce de leche. What about you? What kind of cake are you?
My mouth is watering.
I know I want cake.
I just want to say before I answer the question, thank you
Yeah.
so much for giving me permission to be, this is a very personal note, we can cut it out, but just giving me permission to be ethnic and Jewish and Russian, and being able to say that without it being feeling illegal, you know, in this climate, which I have deep complex feelings. It literally feels like my heart is being ripped apart of all these places. You know, my roots are in Ukraine. Like, it's insane.
Yep.
So I think when you said be the cake, I was like, oh, I don't know if I have ever had like an American cake. And I suddenly, like, that first generation experience of like, oh, like, I've never really had a birthday cake before because our desserts were so different. And then I asked you what cake you'd be to stall, honestly.
Yeah.
And then you said your culturally rich heritage cake.
Yeah.
So mine, I think I would go in that similar route. There's one called Kowski, which is like literally the capital of Ukraine, Kiev.
Yeah.
So it's Kowski, and it's this like crunchy, hazelnutty, multiple layers. It is so good, but it's not your typical like, you know, dough. What do they make cakes out of in America?
I don't know.
Like cake
it's
batter.
Like fluffy. Yeah.
It's not your typical like that kind of cake.
Yeah.
It's more like you said, there's the layers of the.
I love
it's to die for.
That's amazing.
Or to live for. I'm
to
just
live
trying to say to live for.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, well, I think this is the whole crux of our work, is to be our whole selves, to bring our fullest authenticity to the table, and to trust that we are inherently good. Not in the good girl way, but in inherent goodness, right? That we are good enough animals. Right? That you as a mammal were born perfect, or why else would you have been born? Right?
Yeah.
And to meet each other with our big open hearts. I think that's the essential human task, right? Is to walk in our authenticity from our open hearts. So thank you for bringing your beautiful open heart.
Oh, thank you, Bea. It takes a little like recalibration to find that sense of wholeness, but the good news is that it's always within you.
Yeah.
I have a poem in my self-love journal that's literally called Whole and Complete. And I always tell my retreat girls, like, you are worthy, wonderful, and whole. And it's those 3 W's that I like to come back to.
That's so beautiful. Oh, Mary. Oh, I feel like we could keep talking for hours. I know.
Could.
We should do this again.
Let's definitely do this again. I would love to encourage your listeners to get your book, End Emotional Outsourcing. I know they hear your voice a lot, and it's one thing to promote your own thing, but that can be daunting. But here's an outsider voice on the podcast. They probably don't know who I am, but I'm going to yell, get Bea's book, get End Emotional Outsourcing wherever books are sold. You can also get it at your local library, shop small indie bookstores, but it has so many of the tools that you've been listening to on this podcast packaged into one little thing that you can always revisit. Like that's the best feeling, is to have like a book in your hands, and who doesn't want a piece of Bea's heart in your hands? Like go, run, don't walk.
Thank you. You are the sweetest and the best. I thank you. My cheeks hurt from smiling, which is one of my top 10 favorite feelings. I love it so much. So thank you. Thank you. And I know you said they probably don't know who I am, but they need to know who you are because you're amazing. So will you tell the good people where they can find you?
That's so kind. I mostly hang out on Instagram. I'm at Mary's Cup of Tea, maryscupoftea.com. I wrote a book, so I know how intense it can be. I wrote 2 books. The second one's a little journal, so I feel like it's not as big of a deal as like a book with words. Like how cool. So those 2 are called The Gift of Self-Love, which is like a self-love workbook with exercises and teachings, little reminders for you that you are worthy, wonderful, and whole. And 100 Days of Self-Love is my journal that has daily prompts, kind of like the micro journaling approach. So there's 100 prompts to take people through different areas of their life, like purpose, which I talk about a lot. That sense of feeling lost can be very real for a lot of people. Purpose, people, body image stuff. It's all kind of interwoven into what I write about. So thank you so much.
What a delight. Thanks again, Mary. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us for this super special episode. What a delight to have Mary here with us. Truly, she's just outstanding. Thank you, my loves. And as always, if you enjoy what you're hearing, I hope you will like, follow, subscribe to the show, give us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts, and share with your friends. It takes a village. All right, let's do what we do. Gentle hand on your heart should you feel so moved. And remember, you are safe, you are held, you are loved. And when one of us heals, we help heal the world. Be well, my beauty. Mwah. Talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.